Good evening, everyone. So tonight we're going to go ahead and go over setting up a CO2 capture kit. The container that we're using here is actually a Rubbermaid bin and picked up from Walmart. We've got a couple hangers that we cut out of plexiglass or acrylic using a laser cutter, so that's going to help orientate the plates inside the bin. We've got two LEDs here. One 3x6" zinc plate, one 3x6" copper plate that has been nano coated. I've got four pieces of wire, copper wire, that are about 10-11 centimeters long. And then there's the lid, and we'll go over that later. So let's go ahead and put the acrylic hangers in first. Okay, and we're going to need to put the plates in next. Before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and attach those four wires onto each plate. And it's going to be a little difficult to do it while holding the camera, so we'll cut back to the next. So we went ahead and attached the copper wires to the plates. Now let's go ahead and drop them in the bin. Alright, so here we go. Got the nano coated plate on the left side and the zinc plate on the right side. So now we're just going to go ahead and put the lid on, and we'll have to orientate those copper wires, so we will cut back to that next as well. Alright, so the lid is now on. We can see that the copper wires that were sticking up are now orientated through the lid. Very top's got the LED, hole for the air, nano plate on the left, spare plate on the right. This is your positive and negative for the current. And here we can see the plates situated in the water. Now for the LEDs, what I went ahead and did is, thanks to a recommendation from Mike Marco, he said to go ahead and just use two LEDs and wire the positive and the negative together, and then do the same on the opposite side, and then just go ahead and connect that to the two posts. This way there's absolutely no issue with the LEDs being hooked up incorrectly. So went ahead and did that, and then we've got the post here for our current. We're going to be running 1.5 volts at 500 milliamps, and we're actually going to be running 3 bins. I'm going to hook them up in series, so we're going to go ahead and cut to that next. Okay, so everything is now hooked up and wired. We're using a Gopher power supply, and set to 1.5 volts and 500 amps or 500 milliamps. So negative is coming out of the negative terminal. I haven't hooked up the positive lead yet, but that's going to come all the way around and connect into the first nano coated plate. From here it's going to go up through the resistance, the LEDs, coming back over, coming out of the bare copper plates, going into the next bin, same cycle, next bin, same, and we're going to come out of here and reconnect with the positive lead on the terminal. Now, if you don't have access to a power supply, AA batteries. You'll end up going through them and have to replace them, but this is an alternative. You basically just hook up the positive red to the top here and the negative lead to the bottom. There are other methods I've seen on YouTube where someone is taking a battery pack charger and actually run the wiring to the batteries while they're sitting inside the charger, so the batteries are charging while they're also discharging. I would say just Google, see if you can find that in YouTube. But there's different methods out there. That's it. We're going to go ahead and move this to the other room, hook up the air, and we'll see what happens from here. So I want to show you all this because this is some absolutely beautiful stuff. When I originally ran these 3 bins, I was running them in series, doing 1.5 volts at 500 milliamps. With the resistance on it, it came down to, I think the current was somewhere around 20 to 30 milliamps is basically what it was running at 1.5 volts. And this is when they were wired in series. So that was going on for about 24 hours. And then I decided to disconnect the first bin, the 5% salinity. I ran that off of a AA battery for the next 24 hours. And then I ran the last 2 bins in series with the 1.5 at 500. And at that time I was getting about 150 to 200 milliamps, somewhere around there. I think 36 hours after that, we went ahead and wired all 3 of them in parallel. Now, before all this, the first 24 hours, you can see on the left bin, we got mostly CO2. It's all white and pillowy down here. It's pretty much glowing in that light. Now, if we come over here, we can see there's actually 2 different types of GAMs that was formed in here. The very bottom is like a light pink, which I'm being told is zinc, and then CO2 on the top. And now the third one actually has 3 sets of GANs. Now, this all actually started happening when I ran all 3 bins together in parallel. I guess the voltage jumped up there, but this bin ended up creating what it looks like copper oxide GANs, CO2 GANs, and then zinc GANs. Looks like cotton candy. It's pretty cool. And if we look at it from the top, they look like clouds. So, thought I'd share some pretty beautiful stuff. I'm looking forward to see what other kind of GANs we end up coming up with.